Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the mock draft for the Purple Breakdown, a podcast covering the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry about the delay on the mock draft, this fuller one. As I mentioned in a previous video, the other files got corrupted a little bit, and so I'm remaking it to make sure that it works, and it was me trying to make it in conjunction with another video, and the files decided to corrupt over each other, so I had to remake both. But instead, I have this video coming out now, and we'll make it work. So, we're doing this on PFF, and what we've done is, here's our settings. We got 7th round, doing Ravens, number 14. Again, I'm not going to be making any trades in this. This is just as if the Ravens went off the spots that they have, making no trades, drafting best available. Care for positional value. A little less. Draft needs is up higher, and randomness is less. So this is the settings we're working with. It's the base default settings, and we're going to go forward with this. I have the speed a little slower, and so we can see who gets drafted. We're going to enter the draft now, and up first is the Raiders. So we're going to click Start Draft. And now, when I'm looking at the Ravens here, Peter Woods went to the Rams right before. All right, so players that I really looked at for the Ravens that I would like to see in this first round, the number one pick just went right before that. I wanted Peter Woods. I really think Peter Woods is a high upside player for the Ravens. Can really help improve the defensive line. They need to focus on the trenches first. Peter Woods feels like that would be the best pick in my opinion there. Others that I really liked, Makai Lemon. I love Makai Lemon there, and him going to the Bengals doesn't make as much sense in my opinion, because they don't really need wide receiver with still having T and Chase there, and I don't think they'd be taking a wide receiver in that position. And the Dolphins I could see if Tyreek is going to stay injured and he's going to go out. But here's who's left on the board. Powell, Falk, Delane, Banks. And now when I'm looking at this, Banks is one that you could be hoping has a higher ceiling to go off of. But I don't like Banks as much, so I would tend to avoid Banks. Yes, he was on the Florida Gators, and I don't like him as much. I think they're banking off a higher ceiling being there and the talent being there that may not appear. So when I'm looking at this, who's left on the board, I'm actually looking at Howell, I'm looking at Falk, and then I would be looking at guard with Iona. And I think guard's important, but if the Ravens can pick up, as I said in a previous video, Kevin Seitler at guard, he'd be sitting a year, and honestly, I think you could use some extra help on the defense first, and this is where I'd actually look towards Falk, because Howell is another thing of like Mike Green to me, and Mike Green has some problems with the run defense, and so I'd rather have an edge defender that could help with the run defense a little bit and help offset if Mike Green's going to take a step forward and make more pressure on the quarterback. You need an edge defender that can be rotated in there to help with the run defense. And I think that's where Falk would be, and so in the first round of this, I would be actually taking Falk out of Auburn. And now, we're just going to let it run to the next Ravens pick. And Iona's not going to be left on the board there. Prainon went. That hurts. Okay. This really hurts, because ideally my first 2-round picks would be Peter Woods, and then I feel like going straight to Zion Young. It is a great 1-2 punch combo. Peter Woods and Zion Young, I think that could be some of the best 1-2 punch out there. But since you took an edge in the first round as the Ravens in this draft, it doesn't make sense to go back and look and go, well, we're going to take another edge now because there's other needs. There's the defensive, and he was so close to making it there. If he made it there and the Saints hadn't taken him, I think I would be moving on with right on here and taking Emmanuel out of Oregon. I think he's a good guard. That could be a good future for the Ravens. Instead, you need to look towards the other positions that the Ravens need here. And there's Omar Cooper Jr. at wide receiver. The Ravens are going to need more wide receiver here. He had 937 yards this year and 13 touchdowns. You could say that comes from just his time under a significant coaching staff. And I would say, yes, the coaching staff was there and helped improve him, but there's obvious talent that is there. You could also be looking at the defensive line here, and that could be Lee Hunter, who did get 2 sacks and I think has a higher upside than others. Or there's the run defense, but you gotta when you're looking at defense, you need somebody that's going to help in both the pass and the run defense, because Travis Jones is already there and he's the run defense stopper. So honestly, I think in this, even though I like Omar Cooper Jr., I think that would be a pick that the Ravens would probably trade back for, and I'd rather help solidify up the defense just a little more for and go Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. And now there's a lot of teams picking before the Ravens again. And we'll do 2 mock drafts today just to show hopefully a different strategy that could be used between the two, and what different picks might look like. All right, now we're here in the 3rd round, and this is actually where I look wide receiver or guard. If you've not already taken Pranon in the 2nd round, you could do Chase, who could get you a little more. He's 6'5", 315 pounds, big. Better at the pass block than the run block. But honestly, I think I'd rather go wide receiver here and somebody who could be a deeper threat, especially if Bateman is going off and you trade Bateman for more picks. I like Zachariah Branch here. I really do. And I consistently pick Zachariah Branch. And if Skylar Bell was here, that's another one to debate between. But I think I'm going to go Zachariah Branch. We've seen the contested catches he's made, the body control he has in the air, and he could be a deep threat wide receiver. I know he's a little on the undersized, but I think he could be a versatile player that could have an immediate impact coming into the Ravens week 1. We got a few more picks here before, and we get to Baltimore again. And now this is where I think it would be better to look guard in this situation here. And I do like DJ Campbell a lot out of Texas. I know others may disagree with me on this, but I think he could be a better late round guard that could potentially be developed up into a better player, especially if you get someone like Kevin Zeitler for him to sit behind and teach him a little bit, and you get the right O-line coach. Well, the Ravens already have a good O-line coach coming in to help coach him up. And so this is where I'm going to take DJ Campbell out of Texas. And now we wait again. I should have sped up the settings just to make this go a little quicker, but I like DJ Campbell in that spot, and I've actually taken him in a few of the other mock drafts that I've done right there. I think it's probably a little ahead of value where he is at that pick, but it's a good solid pick that the Ravens would need. Now, we are here, and this is actually where I go another... Jalen is here. See, this is a problem. I can't ignore Jalen here because I think if you're the Ravens and you're going to move Kyle Hamilton down towards the line and use him in a more versatile way, you need more safety help in the back, and especially having Mike Mickens coming in, this could be a pick where Mike, if Jalen is available here, where they go, ooh, we want Jalen to come in and sit back there with Malachi Starks, and sort of you now have two Notre Dame alum back in safety, but it allows a deeper safety class to allow Kyle Hamilton to be moved around the board more and be used more as a Swiss Army knife. The other person that I look at is actually from UCF, and that's Malachi Lawrence, who would be another just sort of pass rush guy to try and help get in there. And he had 7 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. He's a lot better at the pass rush. And if you're looking at solving the pass rush, this would be a great 1-2 punch between Falk and then Malachi Lawrence right here. And you cannot look at Michigan's defense this past year was good. I know saying playing within the MAC that this could be a weaker schedule, especially against the MAC. But you can't ignore what Western Michigan's defense has done in this past year. But this is a harder choice. Because I really like Malachi Lawrence and the size that he comes in at, the explosiveness that he's had. But it's a question of, do you want somebody around, or would you go safety to add the depth? I think Coach Mike is going to push for this one. I think this is a tougher one. I will fully admit this one is a bit of a tougher one. And the Ravens get another pick in not too long. So they have 152, and then they go in at 160. Oh, boy. To add further safety help, and I think this could be a push that Mike Mickens makes, just to allow for more use out of Hamilton and other positions. I think I'm going to go Jalen Stroman here. But Malachi Lawrence there is another one that I would highly, and he almost made it. If he'd made it back around, I think I would have been taking him right there. All right, 160. The Ravens could use tight end, especially if you're going to lose Likely and Charlie Kolar. This could make sense in a spot where the Ravens go tight end. Could also use further cornerback help, but I don't like Davis. Tanner's not bad. He could be a good consistent piece that could come in and it's also at an Ole Miss. Or you could go wide receiver with Chase Roberts here. I think because the Ravens, this is a harder pick right here. But I think, I know I'm scrolling down quite a bit, but I think looking at tight end here, I think I do like Tanner Koziol and what he's done with Houston and taking him right there. I think that could be a good addition to help just support if Mark Andrews is there and Likely and Kolar are out and gone. And the Ravens are very just taking best position available at the time and what is there. This is where the Ravens could take a cornerback in Jaden Kennedy. But you could also be looking at edge. You already got a safety, so you're not looking that way. You could be looking at receiver. I don't like Xavier Thomas as much. They're not looking quarterback. could be looking receiver and going here with Brennan Thompson. But honestly, I think the Ravens could use more. If you're getting rid of Marlon Humphrey here, and this is the thought behind it, if Marlon Humphrey goes, is no longer a Raven, you need extra help. And even if you retain Chidobe Awuzie, you need young talent coming in. And I think this is where you take a cornerback, and you have back-to-back picks, so you can take what you want here. And so you take a cornerback and then jump in, and you either go offensive interior to help add depth there, or go another receiver to try and give Lamar another weapon if you don't re-sign. And honestly, I don't like how he's undersized severely, and that wouldn't help. But I thought could be thrown towards taking Max here. You could also look running back. And Desmond Reed and trying, if you don't get Keaton Mitchell coming back, or Justice Hill. This is where I think I'm going to go edge, actually, and Max and what he has done for Iowa, and go swinging on a possible upside player. And now there's a deep wait until the Ravens' next pick. I won't lie. It's going to take a little while to get to the next one. We got 249 and 252 remaining. So there'll be a lot of teams picking before the Ravens have their next pick. It'll be late. And now these later round picks, I will admit, these 5th, 6th, 7th later round picks, you're hoping, you're swinging for upside and that the player becomes something more than what is there. And so it's a swing in the ballpark. It's just you're swinging right now. And the Ravens, I know it's saying that all the top prospects are quarterbacks. And you could say, well, maybe Diego Pavia. The Ravens are not going to go for a quarterback in this situation. They're going to be looking at their other more pressing needs and adding depth there. So you could be looking at cornerback, you could be looking at safety. I don't think they'll be looking as much. It'll be outside linebacker on the edge. You could take another guard down here in this position, but I don't like Remek there. It's higher players. I don't think Barnett is as bad. And there's Keyshawn Silver. I think when you're looking this late in the draft and as somebody that could come up, you're swinging for the upside. And who has the upside in this situation? I honestly think it would more be a guard and Caden Barnett, and then we'll end it looking for somebody else that can just add a little depth. Ben Bell could be the one, an upside edge with the possibility of bringing more to the team, adding more pass rush in. So that's an example mock draft that could be done. Now it's saying here that taking Chris Brazzell II over Zachariah Branch would be a better. The only one was Jaden here that they didn't like, but the Ravens will need to be looking at cornerback. I fully believe that they'll be needing to do cornerback. We'll do one more and we'll shorten this up. We'll go a 5-round mock draft. to finish this up a little quicker, and we'll speed it up a little. And we'll enter the draft. And this one, I'm hoping that Peter Woods falls here, and he does fall here. So Peter Woods is now on the board. And this is the position where Falk's out. It's between Howe, Woods, and then going down here to Iona. And the Ravens could very well take Iona if they don't pick up a guard that they don't like. But I still am here where I am in the firm belief that Peter Woods is the better choice here. So we're going to take Peter Woods in this one, and then we're going to come down. Lots of picks later, all the way at 45. Okay, Zion Young is not on the board here, which does hurt, but the Ravens could be looking edge again here and just solidifying up that defense. So that takes you between Romello, Height, LT Overton, and it's between those two. Like Height a little more, and that's not just because of his stats. I think he'll just be more consistent and has a higher ceiling than what Overton can bring out. So we're going to go Romello, Height here. And we'll wait to the next round. Elijah Sarrett's on the board. And this is something I haven't seen in a while. And I mean, his season, Sarrett is here at 213, 6'2". Honestly, this could be the move right here. Yeah, I really like Sarrett and what he has done over these past few years, and because the other one is Zachariah Branch. Zachariah Branch it's the contested catching that I like so much out of it. But I don't think anyone can ignore. Yeah, we're going to take Elijah right here. I think it's a higher upside pick right there. And Zachariah Branch, why you draft him is for the contested catches and what he could do with the contested catches. And I know the Ravens need that, but you can't pass up Elijah right there. So now we are at pick 115 in the 4th round. This is where, honestly, I keep, every single time I get here, I just keep looking and seeing the Ravens needing guard and DJ Campbell being right here, and I think it is the pick that makes sense if the Ravens have not already taken a guard in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rounds, that DJ Campbell just makes sense in the 4th round right there. And I'm going to keep going back to that on the 4th round. Now, the argument is also you could do out of Kansas here, Kobe. That's another good pick, but I always find myself going DJ Campbell more. All right, now we're here in the 5th round, and the Ravens get picks that aren't too far apart. So there's Miles, who run block is not as good. And see, this is a thing where you can get a tight end that is not as good in run blocking at this moment right now and more better stretching the field vertically, because if Mark Andrews is staying, he's going to be the run blocking tight end. And so you need somebody that's more replacing what Isaiah Likely does. And this is where I keep returning to Tanner. I love what Tanner does. But you have a pick and 8 picks, and do you think Tanner will remain there? And he could very well remain there when an edge like Hutchins could go off the board. I know I'm looking down a little bit. I'm trying to think here. If you take Tanner, but you got lots of picks before. Honestly, in this situation, I'm gonna draft Hutchins first at edge and hope the tight end falls. This is differing up and getting an edge that can do a little better at run defense to just make it a little more transition. And this is also all going to depend on who they bring in at free agency. When the Ravens finish up their free agent, solidify that, it'll come to the draft after, and it'll be a much easier view of who the Ravens need and at what positions. So we're going to go Hutchins, and then we're going to come, and Tanner is still on the board, so now we're going to take Tanner, and I think that's a great spot for him right there at 160. We got him in the last round, and now here in the 5th round, we're going to look. This is where not as good as man coverage, but great in zone coverage. And I'm going to take and go Devin Marshall. I do like that better here because I like the linebacking core that the Ravens have already. And Teddy Buchanan is going to be the one who, this combo between Simpson, Buchanan, and Roquan is going to be the linebacking core back there. I think adding more cornerback help is needed right here. See, he's not as good as in coverage, and I don't like. You need somebody who's going to be better in the coverage area when it comes to safety and not as much in the run defense. And honestly, even though I know I just said it, and you're just looking at best available at this point, I think better available would probably be linebacking in Kyle Lewis. And that's what the Ravens pride themselves in, is drafting best available. So it's going to grade our draft. And it does not like that we drafted Romelio Height and instead thinks the Ravens we should have drafted Abney the second. But I still think this is a good draft. Overall draft grade A-. This is another good draft, and it could help solidify what the Ravens need in the positions that are needed. So that is going to be the mock draft for today. Just a little example. Now, I think it'll be better going forward as the Ravens finish up and go into free agency, and the Ravens get more of a look at what they could need and where they need it. They're going to draft what's best available. That's how they always do it. And so I'm really excited to see how free agency looks when it opens up on March 11th and what the Ravens could be looking towards. And so the holes that they plug and fill will give a better view of the other position depth that the Ravens need. I'd like to thank you all for joining in and watching the mock draft. Again, as said in previous videos, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, share, like the video, comment. If you're on Spotify, follow, leave a review, leave a comment, respond. It makes my day hearing all of you commenting and being able to comment and interact with you all back. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday and everything else that is going on. Can't wait to talk to you guys later. Have a good day.